Hello, speech class. We're going to try to do something I haven't done before. I wanted to go through this presentation about TED Talks with you, and I cannot get this link to work, so I'm going to try to kind of do my own thing and talk a little bit about what a TED Talk is, okay? So basically, if you don't know what a TED Talk is, TED is a nonprofit organization that is devoted to spreading ideas. Now, these are usually short, powerful talks. Normally 18 minutes or less. This began in 1984 as a conference, and TED stands for Technology, Entertainment, and Design. But today, TED covers almost all topics. It could be something science related, business, global issues, really your own opinion about anything could be formed into a TED Talk. TED is now a global organization, and these talks are given in more than 100 languages. Even locally, you can find TEDx conferences that are like mini TED conferences where people can share their ideas. If you go onto YouTube, you will find hundreds of TED Talks. Basically, for this big assignment, you're going to be creating your own TED Talk. So I want to kind of give you an idea of how these talks work as just kind of an overview. All right. So what are they like? Here's an example of a couple of different TED Talks. We will be looking at some of these in detail later, but basically they're short. The average is 3 to 18 minutes. Okay, so that kind of gives you a time frame. For yours, I'm guessing you'll be more like 3 to 10 minutes. One thing that's very unique about a TED Talk is there is no podium. Normally, the presenters kind of walk around. They usually have a wireless microphone. Most of the time, there are visual aids. So for this, I would like you to have some type of visual. We'll talk about that later and how that's going to work with this new setting we're using. There is usually a live audience, and sometimes they are posted online. But usually the audience is educated adults, or it might be somebody who shares a similar interest in the topic. But it really can be just about anything. If you look at these topics here, we've got the title, How to Spot a Liar, and the happy secret to better work. All right. So really the key of a TED Talk is you need to be passionate about whatever the topic is you're giving. Okay. All right. Let me move to the next slide here. All right, a little bit more about what they are like. They can be informative, persuasive, argumentative, or a mix with narrative moments as well. So there can be personal stories in there. They can be persuasive, they can be informative, but it usually is a mix of all of this. It is also a blend of ethos, pathos, and logos. Now, if you think back to our commercials, these are going to appeal to emotion, to logic, or to ethics. It could be, however you feel about a topic, it's going to appeal to one of these three or sometimes more. Usually it starts with a story or another way to hook the audience in. But the thing that's really interesting about TED Talks is the exact structure varies. It could be problem solution, which we'll talk more about in detail. It could be a chronological storytelling. It could be lists or steps in a process. It might be informative only, which would be like a teacher talking about a subject, kind of like a mini lecture. There's usually some humor in there and a call to action, meaning how is this topic going to somehow change our lives? Sometimes there's a jaw-dropping moment, all right? If we were in class, I would show you these little clips. But sometimes there's something where you're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe he just did that. This would be an example of literally holding a brain, where it's kind of this shock value where the audience is like, oh my goodness. So you want to try to hook the audience and keep their attention by doing something different that's not going to be super standard for a traditional talk. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about their popularity. This started in 1984. It began slowly, and then it became a nonprofit organization. But really where you see a huge boom is with the access of the internet. Okay, so as soon as the internet became mainstream, we saw this huge boom of different TED Talks being posted online. So in June 2006, the first 6 talks were posted online, but to the present, popularity continues to grow. By 2012, we had 1 billion videos on TED Talk, and they grow every day. I actually subscribe to TED, so I get inbox TED Talks all the time that are supposed to appeal to my particular interests. Sometimes I watch them, sometimes I don't. But it's a very interesting phenomenon how you see the growth that really parallels the growth of the internet. So the question is, why do these work? When the brain learns something new, it releases dopamine, so it makes you feel good. And then the brain wants to learn new, cool, exciting things. So it's almost like your brain is saying, wow, that's so interesting. So in order for the brain to see something differently, you need to find new and novel ways to help the brain perceive information differently. So the purpose of TED is to get you to see things differently. This is a little side note on TEDx, which is like mini conferences that are held. This is one that was held in Columbus, which is where this particular author resides. So we don't care about that. All right. Who cares? It could be anybody. Adults, teens, any viewer, businesses, scholars, public speakers. Anybody could care about TED Talks. It depends on the topic and how it relates to you. But the difference here is the before and after. Before TED, people were stuck behind a podium. It was death by PowerPoint. It became boring. Only the elite few got the information. But now with the internet, we have engaging visuals, spoken content, and verbal and nonverbal delivery. Slides are images, not text. Speakers are more personable, and anyone can get this information because it is available online. And you don't have to pay for it. I mean, you can get on YouTube and search just about any topic and find it. So it's not like this is meant just for the elite. It's for anybody. All right, advantages to TED Talk videos. So why record a video instead of just writing it or giving a live-only speech? Once again, going back to the internet, it can go viral. It benefits the idea and the speaker. Yeah, so it's obviously a great tool to be able to affect a lot of different people. Here's my disclaimer, and I mean this seriously. Before you start randomly looking on TED.com, there are some topics that may not be school appropriate. So I am just telling you, the opinions are in the videos vary a lot. These are opinions. Sometimes they are super liberal. Sometimes they are super conservative. These opinions of the videos are not necessarily my own opinions. If you find something that's not school appropriate, I did not tell you to look for it. I just want you to be aware that when you start looking on TED Talks, there might be things that you would need approval to view. So I'm just putting that up there as a disclaimer, okay? So be aware of that. All right, so I want you to complete your guided notes that I've attached that go along with this little slideshow, and this will be your assignment for today and tomorrow. I'm hoping that this forum is going to work for the moment, okay? Let me know if you have questions. This is a little intro, and I'm super excited about this unit. Have a great day.